after that, and you know, it's amazing how much arguing goes on, even with native speakers, because I do this on the teacher training course that I train on as well, and it's really, really interesting what people kind of tell themselves about the present simple versus actually understand about the present simple. And then after that we go into functions, and I hand out all the functions, and then they have to attach the functions to the different contexts as well. I stand by and guide and ask questions, try to focus people a little bit. You know, maybe what I'll do is I'll highlight, I'll say, okay, everything's great except for this one and this one, rethink that. Very motivating, it's very engaging, and way, way more interesting than me standing at the front saying, okay, we're going to do present simple. Yes. Okay, moving on. The past. Okay, so now we're looking at the past. Have a look at this cartoon strip. In a minute, you're going to read a true story, and it is actually a true story. And what I want you to do is identify what the differences are between the cartoon and the story. So have a good look. Think about what you see happening. Try to formulate the story in your mind for a minute. Oh, and by the way, that thing that's falling is not a mushroom.
It's a baby.
It's a baby. Tyson thought it was a mushroom.
Well, only at first.
Okay, ready? Here's the story. Okay, so type in the question box any differences between the cartoon and the story.
People are formulating their opinions.
I respect that.
He doesn't kick her. In the cartoon, he doesn't kick the baby. The punchline, I suppose, is missing. Yep, doesn't kick the baby. Not his baby. I'm not sure it's his baby in either situation.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Okay, now, so that part is really because you're working with the text now. So obviously students are going to need a general understanding of the text before you start picking it apart and figuring out the grammar in it. Any guesses on what the grammar is that you're going to focus on?
What's the grammar?
Tyson, any guesses?
I think it is past perfect.
Yes, exactly. Past perfect, and we also have some past simples in there as well. Okay, so now the next activity, you're going to see how the concept work is pulled directly from the text. So very often when we look at comprehension questions from reading like this, it's kind of, you know, I mean, some of them are great critical thinking skills. What's the author's intention? You know, what does he believe about the audience? What are the general points? You know, summarizing all of that stuff. But it's really interesting if you can also throw in a couple of comprehension questions that actually directly relate to the comprehension of the grammar itself. Okay, so we've got a few of those. Okay, so answer these questions for us. And if you see the blue box at the bottom, what I did so we weren't flicking back and forth between the text and the questions is I actually just kind of took the little excerpts out of the text. What a student would do is have to identify that that is the excerpt where they can find the answer, but then also answer the questions.
Number one's no, according to somebody.
Okay. Good.
Any other answers? Please type in the question box. Number one's no.
Okay, what about 2, 3, or 4?
2 is yes. Yes. Number 1, no. 2, yes. 3, yes, 4, and after. 3.5 minutes. Yes.
Okay, yeah, all right. So number one, do we know when he made his one successful save? No, we just know that it was at some point in time. So the point here that well, I'll save that for a second. Pierre left home for a stroll at 3 in the afternoon. So number two, yes. Number three, how long? Okay, 5 minutes. 4, did he hear the child's screams before or after? Did anybody type in that in
Yep.
the question box?
People said it after.
Okay, good, exactly. So what are we trying to prove with these questions? What exactly are we trying to get students to discover about the grammar through this kind of questioning through the text?
Past perfect can be used in several different situations.
Okay, and yeah, absolutely. So when we look at the concept of the grammar, like number 1, 2, and 3, here it's appreciating the fact that lots of times students transfer what they think or what they know about another similar looking area of grammar to a new area of grammar. So for example, with present perfect, do we use present perfect when we're talking about a specific time in the past? No, we don't. This is past perfect. Some of that information might be transferred. However, we have 3 correct sentences here. So through our evidence here, we can see that the past perfect can be used when there is no specific point in the past, at a specific point at the past, in the past, and for a period of time in the past. Okay, which is, I think, very important for students to understand. We often kind of, I think as teachers we can take understanding time references for granted. So it does uncover that. And then obviously the 4th point, before or after, that is clearly clarifying what, Tyson?
Sorry, I wasn't.
Somebody was thinking about his dinner. Okay, that's fine. I'll just talk and talk and talk.
I'm sorry, Tanya, would you like to repeat the question?
No, Tyson.
Okay.
So you're looking at 2 different actions. The action that is identified through the past perfect happens before the past simple. So you're looking at how past perfect identifies the sequence of actions.
Yes, that's right. One happens before the other in the past.
Exactly. Yes. There you go. So not only time reference, but also order of actions. Okay, so this is an example of a longer text, but also, as I said, I'm just going to repeat it because I like the sound of my own voice, clearly. That you can use comprehension-based questions from the text to actually identify and have students guided towards a greater understanding of grammatical structures. Okay, moving quickly on. The future. Okay, by the time you're 100, assuming you're an average English person, which unless any of us are from, like, well, most of us I think here are not, but we'll just say English-speaking person for the sake of the argument. How many potatoes do you think you'll have eaten? How many years will you have slept by the time you're 100? How many cups of tea? Are you a TV addict? How much do you read? All right, now the interesting thing about this is giving it to the students and asking them to speak with their partner and see if they can even formulate these questions. That is amazing in itself. So it's great. Like, see, I mean, I know it's a rarer area of grammar. And Tyson and I had a very interesting discussion about this earlier.
Yeah, you should have been there.
Because we're not going to tell you. No. Actually, I thought you raised a really, really interesting point, Tyson, about activities like this. Because one of the concerns is doing practice of verb forms that aren't really that common. However, my argument for doing practice and processing stuff like this is, I hope everybody can hear me. My microphone may be a bit weak.
No, it's fine.
Is that again, you're talking about mental processing. So the more mental processing they have over a form, the more memorable it's going to be. Now, as a teacher, you can always say, we don't really use it that often, but here it is. Can you formulate it? A native speaker can and would certainly know how to formulate the questions here.